with us our buddy Phil Ittner, the veteran war correspondent. He's in Lviv this week. Philip Ittner on YouTube. He's got a video blog over there, PHILIPITTNER, veteran war correspondent. And Phil, welcome back to the program. I'm seeing that SpaceX has been used by soldiers in Ukraine as their to use drones and things. And SpaceX says that they're cutting off the Ukrainian military from access to their service. Have you heard about this? Is this affecting things there?
I have heard about it, Tom. Elon Musk has all along said that his intention with SpaceX and the Starlink system would be purely defensive for communications and logistics. And the news that the Ukrainians have been using it in conjunction with their drones for either geolocating so that they can draw artillery fire does not sit well with Mr. Musk. And so he has said that he will block them from being able to use their drones in conjunction with his commercial satellite program. The Ukrainians, of course, are not going to be pleased about this, but there are a number of alternative uses for the Starlink, and they will continue to use it for logistics. They'll continue to use it for command and control. They just won't be able to use it for targeting artillery or for doing other drone activities like spying or, pointing out Russian enemy positions and that kind of stuff.
I'm wondering if this
geolocating.
I'm wondering if this is the beginning of a slippery slope. If if Musk is starting to, he's bound himself more closely to the Republican Party, and about half the Republicans in Congress now are binding themselves to Putin. Is that the direction things are going?
I mean, certainly possible. Musk is a fluent Russian speaker. He is indeed, yes, and he's had a relationship with the Kremlin that has been much more affable than maybe a lot of people would hope. In the very beginning of the war, as a matter of fact, when he gave the Starlinks to the Ukrainians, he did it for about, don't hold me to this, but about roughly 2 months or so. And then he said, look, unless you start ponying up money, I'm gonna withdraw the entire coverage. My satellites will no longer cover Ukraine. So he kind of held a little bit of blackmail. Blackmail, perhaps too strong a word, but threatened to withdraw support for Ukraine, and the international community was very upset with him, and he acquiesced in the end. But Musk is a very reluctant partner here in Ukraine, and folks know it, and it's not exactly a friendly relationship.
That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So Phil, how are you, and how's everything going there right now? Where are you? What's up?
Well, Tom, as you can see, I'm not at my apartment in Kyiv right now. I'm in the western city of Lviv. I've come to spend a little time with an aid organization that I'm aware of here that helps children dealing with trauma and dealing with their situation, many of them internally displaced people, trying to support them in keeping kids safe, keeping kids dealing with their trauma and their PTSD, which is just absolutely heartbreaking, and then also trying to help them keep their education going on. And so that's why I've come out to Lviv. I will be posting at some point a vlog about this. So thank you for mentioning my channel on YouTube. That's where you'll be able to see it. And it's also just a chance for me to come back to Lviv, where I came at the very, very beginning of the war, because of course we're getting closer to that 1-year anniversary, and it just reminds me of the long road we've had since the beginning of this awful war.
Yeah, this is your friend, the physician. We had him on the program. Mr. Redliner?
Erwin Redliner, a wonderful emergency pediatrician, an ER pediatrician who is familiar with the trauma that children endure in certain circumstances, including war. And I've had a good chance to spend some time with him and see. I spent the day today at a meeting where they were distributing tablets for children so they could do remote learning, because sadly not everybody can be in the classroom. And even classrooms that do have the space for the children, you don't want to have all of them in one classroom, because they can't all go to the air raid shelter, which is just it's just another facet of these. You don't think about the knock-on effect, the secondary and tertiary effects of this conflict. but they can't even fill their school classes, the classrooms, because they can't. If an air raid siren happens, not all the kids can go to the air raid, so they split them up between remote learning and in-person learning, and it's tragic to see the mothers who were so thankful for the tablets, almost to the point of tears. The children, of course, love getting a new toy, but the 1,000-yard stare disappears, and for a second they're children again. But you just know that 1,000-yard stare is going to come back again. And for me, Tom, in all the wars that I've ever been in, it's always the children that really break your heart, and that's no different here. I mean, it's just absolutely awful to see.
This is the eifoundation.org?
This is the Ukrainian Children's Action Program, and headed up by Erwin Redlener and his wife, Karen.
Right. Erwin
very good organization.
REDLENER.org. IRWIN. Yeah, I got it. Okay, I've got it right in front of me. So, the anniversary is coming up of the invasion, February 24th. It's supposed to happen, it will happen on the 24th, but there is speculation that Putin wants to be able to declare victory on or before that date, or declare a brand new rebooting of the war on that date. I mean, what's the consensus, or is there even one about what the near future is going to bring to Ukraine?
Well, okay, so Thomas, we transition from the cost on the humanitarian level, and we look at the actual war. You're right. We're looking at the one-year anniversary. There is a lot of talk about Russia using that anniversary as a chance to launch a new offensive. They've put hundreds of thousands of newly conscripted soldiers who are little more than just cannon fodder on the front lines, and it's expected that potentially a three-pronged offensive, a north, center, and south offensive out in the eastern part of this country. So that would be around Kharkiv, and then in the center around this Bakhmut town in Donbass, and then down south near Kherson. That's kind of the anticipation of what might be the offensive that Russia will launch or could launch around the 24th to mark that one-year anniversary. But Tom, I have to point out that there's a reason why we think it'll be the one-year anniversary, because Russia likes to use their military in a symbolic manner. Oftentimes, they like anniversaries like this because not only are they looking at military objectives, but they're looking at messaging. They're looking at a symbolic kind of point that they're trying to make, and they're also looking to, as we've spoken in the past, terrorize the Ukrainian people. So there's a lot of anticipation that might come, that there will be a ground offensive, but also that there will be an air offensive. Artillery has already been kind of upticking, and we're thinking that might be them softening up positions for their waves of conscripts to come at. But I think we need to warn the audience that there is every chance in the world that things are going to get very, very violent, and there's going to be an uptick in the fighting here, and it's not going to be pretty.
A month or so ago, when or maybe a few weeks ago, when there was all this talk about Europe sending tanks, the German Leopards and whatnot, you and I talked about it last week. The media was reporting, it's going to take a month. There's training, there's transportation, might take 2 months. And I was thinking, I wonder if this is what they're saying publicly because they don't want the Russians to know that they're going to get them there in a week. Or is it really going to take a couple of months? I mean, is Ukraine prepared for this assault?
Ukraine has been digging in. As far as the technology and the weapon systems that are being sent here, the Bradley fighting vehicle, the M2, that U.S. infantry fighting vehicle, that's here. It's here. There are approximately about 60 of them or so. They're somewhere here in country. We don't exactly know where. The tanks will be coming. We've heard the Germans say that they expect the Leopard or the Leopard 2 to be here by the end of March. Any offensive that the Russians launch will not reach the capital in that time. So the tanks, the German tanks and the British Challengers, they will be on the front lines during whatever offensive happens here. there's another thing that has happened recently this week in the last 72 hours is that President Zelensky has gone abroad for the second time only since the beginning of the war. And he first went to Britain. He went to London and he spoke in front of the Parliament Hall there. And he really bolstered support for his cause. He's now asking for jets. He wants the fourth generation jets like the F-16s or the Typhoons. The Brits have said that they will certainly, they're actively looking into that possibility. Then he went to he went to Paris and he met with Macron and Chancellor Scholz from Germany, who had to travel from Berlin to Paris to do it, which is a little bit of a slight. And that garnered more support. He's done another very good job of presenting his case to the Western world about why they need to support him. He's a very good speaker. He's very evocative. Today he was in Brussels speaking to the European Parliament, and that went very well for him. It does seem as though the Western world is now locked in with Ukraine, and the support isn't going anywhere. How that plays out, we're going to have to wait and see. Are there limits to that support? We don't know quite yet, because now there's talk again of jets, which at the very beginning of this war was an absolute set in stone red line, and it seems there might be some fraying on that. The Poles are saying that they're willing to train Ukrainian pilots on the F-16, and Moscow is absolutely furious about that possibility. So as we approach the one-year anniversary, it does look as though the West is really standing with Zelensky. He's done a very, if I do say so myself, in my opinion, excellent job of garnering support and continued support. And he will come back to Kyiv and then run up to the anniversary with a lot of wind at his back when it comes to Western support.
Yeah, this is a great example of how leadership actually counts. Phil Ittner, the veteran war correspondent, his YouTube video blog you can find over at YouTube. His name is spelled Philippittner, and that is his Twitter handle too, Philip Ittner. Phil, thanks so much for dropping by today. It's always great talking with you, and stay safe and give our very best to Erwin and his people, please.
I will, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll look forward to talking with you next week. We'll be right back, 18 minutes past the hour.